Hey everybody, Lou Santiago for Garage Insider TV. So here's where we are in the Chevelle frame. It's been a while, I know. I've been waiting on parts for other stuff and I'm finally getting back up to speed. But this is where we stand. As you know, we went to Rich's Right Stuff to get the big brakes, and they have a new online entity called firstplaceautoparts.com. So you can get the stuff that Rich's sells and other things. So that's where we are with that. QA1 hooked us up with the control arms and the coilovers for the suspension to be taken care of. Next we went to Cook's Exhaust. So what we did was we got the mid-length headers from Cook's. I didn't want to run long tube headers because long tubes they take up a lot of space. They usually are lower than the frame. And one of the things about the build is we're keeping everything above the pinch welds, which is important for ground clearance when you're running a really low car. So I ran the mid-length headers. Then we ran into another issue. These mounts that I got, which they seem fine, they fit fine, they actually fit really good. But here's the thing. The 69 Chevelle frame, this ear right here is actually taller, so the engine can sit higher in the car because the hole is higher. Well, actually it would be lower. Technically, the hole would be lower. So I put these mounts on thinking it would be okay because it just seemed like the right thing to do. I didn't know they actually came with the taller mounts. So the ICT billet mounts made it what I thought would be fine. I'm just guessing here because I just figured I needed the short mount because of the plate. Didn't work that way. I still need the tall mount to get the headers to clear. Even though it doesn't seem like a lot, it's just the way it was. So I went to the local parts store, got some mounts, and they fit. So I'm going to use those for mock-up while I wait for the taller engine mounts to come in. Once I get the taller engine mounts done, I'll be fine. But I have a mock-up point and then I'm good. But something else we ran into with the shorter mounts, right here on the driver's side, hit the frame. This side, the only thing that doesn't clear, and it's not a clearance issue, I got the header on, it just rubs on the lower control arm, mount. I'll relieve that mount on the chassis, brace it up real good. You'll never even know I've been in there. Now I move on to the Transmission Crossmember, which I'm going to put together, and you'll see that go together here in a minute. Then I can start all of my bracing, and we'll be good to go. So sit back and enjoy the fab work. Okay, so it's time to put in the Transmission Crossmember. So here's what we're going to do. I made this piece at home in my shop. So this way, when this piece of tubing is in place, right, there's going to be one on the other side, all the bracing will tie into this. But what this does for me is it allows me to just drop the center of the crossmember out, and I don't have to worry about anything. This way, I'm not trying to take out a whole crossmember like you used to doing, right? So these pieces are 19 and 7/8 because the engine is dead centered. The engine is also level. I like to make my engine nice and level. I know you see them like this and you see them different ways. Chrysler moves the whole engine over to the passenger side. I have realized that when I build this stuff as low as I do, I can still get my pinion angle right, making the rear end do what I need it to do, because you want to have angles to make your U-joints work, but that's another story. So I like my engine nice and flat. I think it looks better inside the car, and it's nice and square. It doesn't look weird. Like you look at some of your Chryslers, especially your big block Mopars, you stand in front and you see the whole engine is moved over to the side, and it just doesn't look good to me. So what I'll do is I got my machine all fired up. I got my cheaters. I'm going to tack this in place, get it squared up, get it tacked up, and I'll be ready to rock, and then I'll burn the thing in. And I'm sure someone's going to tell me that I shouldn't put the TIG torch over my shoulders like I got it. But quite honestly, I don't want to have to wrestle with it. Because I got to wrestle with this other stuff and get this all squared away. I got a little tack. I meant to re-square it, I moved it, but I got a tack on there that'll hold it. You have to break the tack. Come on, baby. Just give me a little bit. Work with me. Man, break the tack. The tack was so good. So good. Man, I felt it move. It's an American tragedy. Oh yeah. All right, so now what I'll do is I'll get the other side on, get it squared up, and it's, what I did was I'm a little off center. It's not a big deal because I got an ellipse and I've got a little bit towards the back. It's not a big deal. I'm also using bigger tubing. This is 1 5/8. The middle is 1 1/2. It's just what I have. I thought about it after I made it. I don't want to use the 1 1/2 because I'm making all the tubing, the bracing I should say, out of 1 5/8 120 wall DOM. So I'm going to use this instead, leave the middle the way it is, and it'll be fine because it's just a small area. It's a 10-inch area. Because this transmission crossmember is the actual anchor, for less of a better term. Everything's going to tie into this. It'll come from here into here, from here back, and then there'll be lattice work, and everything's going to be tied essentially into the middle of the chassis. So I'm going to use this instead of 1 1/2, but it'll be fine. All right, so let me go to the other side. All right. So I'm ready to rock, I'm over here tacking and can't see. Got old man eyes now. It's not a pretty sight. It's not a pretty sight, Jerry. It's not a pretty sight. Now, So the other side, do the same. Now let the jack down. Whoa! Definitely gonna have to do some bracing on that. See, this is why the bracing is important. Even though I got tacks on there, I bent it because I didn't do it all the way around. I should have known better. I'll just re-level the engine and put some. I was curious, and I made a boo-boo because I only tacked it on the top. When I let the weight down, it actually separated it. But I'll get some tacks underneath. I'll level it back up, get some tacks on it, and we'll be good. It won't go nowhere. It's one of these things. I like to tack everything really good before I go welding it all in, because you've got so much welding to do in the middle here. You need to spread your heat around. Some guys will just weld everything in as they go. You got to move around, front to back, side to side, you know, all these different things, because you don't want to put too much heat in it because you're going to twist it. Because you got to remember, heat's going to twist the metal and move it. So I like to do tack as little as possible so I get everything in place. But it still has to be structurally sound. Like, I still got to hold the weight of the engine up. That's why I let it down to see what it was going to do. I'll put the level back on it and get it squared away and get some really good get some better tacks on the bottom. That's what I'll do. So my level is right there. Man, that was a good guess. I'm like one pump from boom, level. Man, that was a good guess. Man. Sometimes I'm so good I don't even know my own strength. All right, so here's where we are. I've got the crossmember tacked in place. I got a couple of options, and I don't know which one I'm leaning on, actually. I need this lower trailing arm mount. I need to box it in because that's where my tube is going to land. And it's just a piece of stamped steel like a channel, so I don't want to weld it to that unless I box it. So I need to do that. and I need to weld a plate here where the tube is going to come off, because the whole point of this thing is when you run the exhaust down, you need to make sure you have enough room to clear the braces, not the bracket, to clear the bracing and also kick it in and run alongside the drive shaft. So it's potatoes. I have a rough idea where the exhaust pipe is going to land, so I could do the tubing, but I don't know. I haven't decided. I do need some prep work on this to get it going, and I want to get this other header in place. So I think what I'm going to do is drop the header in place and do a combination of things. Get both things ready as I go along, and whichever gets done first, that's what we'll jump to. But the next thing I need to do for you guys is I need to show you what's going in the Slowburban next, because I got the rest of the parts and it's worth talking about. So I'll see you in a minute. So here's the deal, guys. I got the rest of the stuff from Modern Driveline to put that Tremec TKO in the Slowburban, and it's going to be awesome. Because, you know, Tremec only sells the transmission, so you have to go to someone like Modern Driveline, Hurst, or American Powertrain to get the necessary parts you need if that's the route you go. And I don't think, I could be wrong here, I don't think Tremec sells to the public. I got a guy though. But what I did was I called up Bruce at Modern Driveline and I ordered everything I need. So I got all my hydraulics, I got my slave cylinder, it even came with a transmission mount, a brand new yoke. The shifter now on the transmission, the shifter location is all the way in the back. Being that there's 3 positions for it, I'm going to shift it to a mid shift, and you're going to see that next. Even got a boot, a shifter knob. I'm going to make my own stick, so I'm going to use the knob. All the necessary hardware to mount the flywheel, the flex plate, everything. The flex plate, the clutch and pressure plate, I should say. But here's the cool thing: when I got it, I didn't have a clutch pedal for the Slowburban. So I was talking to Bruce. I said, Bruce, do you have a clutch pedal? And he said, no, we don't make one. Well, we did make one. We thought about it. And he goes, but Mark Boland makes one, and I'm doing a deal with him where he hooks me up with the pedal, and you got a pedal. So I had Bruce go through Boland for me, got that. It even comes with all the oils now. I was talking to Bruce about the bell housing, and what we came up with is I'm not racing the Slowburban, so I don't need a quick time, you know, SFI approved and all that. So I just got a cast aluminum bell housing. This is a road pig. I'm going to probably put about 60,000 miles on it a year. So I went with a stock replacement that's set up to fit the TKO. And then I went with a totally neutral flex plate because the engine is neutral balance. And then God, I keep saying flex plate. It's a flywheel. Flex plate is automatic. I'm getting rid of the automatic. So I went with a brand new neutral balance flywheel and a good organic clutch, because like I said, I'm not racing, so I don't need carbon fiber. So we're ready to go. This is stuff that you can pretty much get off the parts room floor. So that's what I want, because I need to be able, if something goes wrong, like say I need a clutch, I need to be able to go somewhere and say, hey man, this is what I got. Parts store can supply it, and I can go to a transmission shop or work in my friend's driveway, which I've done before in other states, and fix my stuff and get back on the road. So that's it for this. Remember, Modern Driveline sells everything you need. If you want to do a full-blown conversion, they can even supply you with the drive shaft when you're done. Anything you need for your 5 or 6-speed conversions, plus they have the TKX, you can get it from Modern Driveline. I'm psyched. I got to get the Suburban on the lift.